A very good afternoon. Again, as you would have seen there, Prisoners, they have won the toss. They have elected to bat. We do apologize for a little late start, about 15 minutes later than scheduled. And that's entirely beyond our control. There was a little bit of a hiccup with the Prisoners transport. So they were given a little grace period. So here they are as they get ready to do battle with Shondell Emmons. First ball is right on target there from Ronaldo Forrester. Again, Preysal will be hoping that they could finish the job here in this encounter and not expose themselves to any hiccups or calculations later on. So a win is uppermost in their minds. A little bit of adjustments as they decide they're going to put the third man back on the fence and the point also on the fence. The man who was at square leg is up in the circle. And as fate would have it, it goes right to the man that they put there at third man. So captain will feel justified. That move was made because it probably would have saved them a couple runs as well. So Shondell Emmons is off the mark. So too is the Prisons. And now it's going to be Manuel Garcia who is getting ready to shape up. Prisons, as they say, things didn't go according to plan. Now, this is a risky move. They've taken out the fine leg and put him at backward point just at the edge of the circle. They put the man back on the fence at point, and now they're putting that same man that was moved from third man on one side to third man on the other side for the right hander. There's no fine leg. Good carry as well. So Preysal hoping to more or less confirm their place in the playoffs. And again, that's good bowling from Forrester. Doing quite a bit in terms of his lift. And I think Garcia probably surprised by the amount of bonks he's getting. And again, just holding that line outside the off dump and making it very difficult for them to score. So a pretty good first over. Not much happening in it, just a 1 run coming off of it. Good effort from Forrester. One without loss. Of course, all those football fans. Atletico Madrid are 1-0 up, or beat Girona 1-0. Newcastle United also beat West Ham 3-1. This is Premiership. Real Madrid are leading Sevilla 1-0 at the moment. Oh, that is a final now. So some interesting scores there as teams look to close out their respective seasons. Players, many of them are going to be heading off to join their respective national teams for the World Cup. Remember, it's an expanded World Cup, 48 teams this year as opposed to 32. And it means that more players now are going to be on show at the World Cup. And it would also mean that clubs that probably have 12, 15 players who are playing at the World Cup, they're going to be really stretched when the new season starts because those players are going to have to get some rest. Here we have the first real aggressive shot, and it's a good one. And Emmons wasting no time as he deposits Passad in the Triniposki stand. Bowling his left arm orthodox into the left-handers pads and pitching up there, and he didn't waste any time getting onto it. And a good bit of feeling there, but he probably would have had to hit the stump directly. Just misses. Was Marlon Richards there, who's a competent enough fielder. And again, get a big day. The middle leg of the American Triple Crown took place yesterday, the Preakness. And that's another good hit. That's what's going to carry. May not get to the boundary. In fact, it does. From the time it kicks, at pitches, it just kicks on. And neither one of the two fielders who were encroaching or who were closing in on it had a chance, really. The ball just hit the turf and just kicked on. Napoleon Solo won the Preakness yesterday. Fantastic ride. It just kept lengthening its stride to get away from the opponents. So that we have two separate winners. We had the Kentucky Derby. Here's another one. This one could be out, settling under it, and he takes the catch. That's a very good catch there by Nick Ramlal. And that is the end of Emmanuel Garcia. He goes for 4. And they find themselves now 12-for-1 Prisons after they won the toss and opted to bat first. And I suppose there's a general school of thought that the players coming into this game would be very loose and relaxed and maybe just play their natural games. And it's Karan Kanhai who is making his way out into the middle. And I saw a clip last night with R&B concert that they had here. I want to believe it was in the Savannah. I'm not absolutely certain the location, but Ashanti and Ja Rule were performing. But the thing is, American supporters, I'll tell you after this delivery, Americans who might be watching, or even anybody outside the Caribbean who would be watching that would be wondering, what is Ashanti singing? And that ends the over. A good one, 12 for 1 at the end of the second over. And she actually had voice on stage last night because she was singing Voices tune. I can't behave myself.
Also, just having a look at the standings in this group. Queen's Park in top position. Next game is, of course, between Fial on the 19 and Queen's Park. So this is a very important game here for Preysal, just to ensure that they can end up further up in the table, just to secure their future in the top two.
When you consider Central Sports, they've played 4 matches compared to Preysal's 3. So it's an important game for Preysal. Prisons, no chance of them advancing. So this is really their curtain call. And I'm sure they want to go out on a high. For the neutrals, that might be a good thing because it means that we might see some serious fireworks here. If guys decide they're just gonna come and have a dip.
No surprises as to why they would have wanted to bat first, especially on this surface. Same pitch being used as yesterday.
Getting a little bit of extra bounce for Forrester. He's generating good pace, but his control has been very good. And it has to be because he doesn't have a fine leg, so he can't afford to stray too much onto the pads. There's a short backward square, but he's very wide there in that position, just to the right of the umpire. That's a wide. The wicketkeeper is down for the count there, Banky. Probably took a blow on the knee as he was trying to corral that one. And some of the pads that the wicketkeepers use for the limited overs games are not the usually bulky ones that we see in test matches. These are a little more probably lightweight and maybe not as much padding. So and probably not as bulky. So there isn't as much, not much area, or smaller area is protected. And it looks like they may have to make the change, or they may have to get the medical person out there quickly because he's obviously in some discomfort. And well, the medical person is now only now arriving, so hopefully we will be able to see. So as they continue to work on him there, we take a look at the Group A standings as it stands now. Queen's Park have played 3 and won 3 for 6 points. Glofrank Motors, Central Sports, Yorkshire, they have played 4, won 2, lost 2, so they have 4 points and currently sit in second place with a net run rate of 1.651. Preysal, who's playing now, playing their fourth game, they've won 2 and they've lost 1. If they were to win today, then that will take them up to 6 points. And they would leapfrog the Central Sports Yorkshire outfit. And that's precisely what they're doing. The under 19s, well, they have 2 points as well. And if they should win, then they would climb to 4 points. But once Preysal wins, that will more or less settle the issue here. And as we said, Prisons, they are winless in their 3 games so far. So that's the situation there. And good news that I think the Banquet is up and it probably will resume. But let's look at Group B right now. Mary Boys Sports Club, they've won 2 and lost 1 for 4 points. KFC Clark Road United, similar record. 3 matches played, 2 wins, 1 loss for 4 points. But Mary Boys with a better net run rate. Best Motors, Martin Patriots, similar record for their 4 points. And but again, it's net run rate, and theirs is below Clark Roads. And then, of course, more headaches here because we have Porge and Penal Sports Club. And but they have played 4 games as opposed to 3 by the others. And they have 2 wins and 2 losses for their 4 points. And of course, Preferable Victoria, they are winless in their 3 games. We saw them last night lose a heartbreaker. So that's where the teams are. Mary Boys are in good shape, but they would like to win their last game. Clark Road, a similar scenario. Best Motors will be hoping that they too can probably sneak in somehow, improve their net run rate, but most importantly, win to get the 2 points. And Porge and Penal, well, they would have finished up there, so we'll see what happens. But back here now, Banque is going to live. That's a good shot. That's beautifully played. He just sort of leant into it, didn't try to overhit it, and he just timed it to perfection and picked up a 6, hit it over extra cover, and deposited him in front of the Caribbean stand. So excellent bat in there from Emmons. He goes up to 15 now, 21 for 1. And nibbling. That's good bowling. Again, just bowling in the same general area, but only this time he pushed it a little wider. And got the batsman to chase after it. Good intelligent bowling there. It shows that a lot of thought is going into his bowling. He's trying to work out areas where he can dismiss his man. He does have a slip. And again, only this time he started much too wide for the umpire's liking. And there is a report that Pep Guardiola has told the people at Manchester City that he is going to leave at the end of the season, which is in the next 2 games in the Premiership. Well, he hasn't confirmed it, but the reports indicate that he told the folks that 2 weeks ago, and he's just probably waiting till the end of the season to confirm it. That's a good delivery again. That's an even better one. That just pitches and moves through the batsman to try to play it, and then only for it to kick and leave him. Of course, today's the final, the West Indies and Guyana. Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana in some trouble, 75 for 5. Here, the end of over number 3, and at the end of the third over, it's 22 for 1. So Nathaniel McDavid is coming into the attack to replace the wicket taker Prasad. And they're going to get a single at least here. So this is really where they have to try to just to keep the scoreboard ticking over. As much as possible. Cephas Cooper made 18. Evan Lewis made a duck. Jid Guli made 26. Jason Mohammed 14. And Joshua De Silva also made a duck. So another good showing for Trinidad and Tobago. And it has to be said, the wicket is very responsive to bowling, especially seam bowling. And that's a great shot. That's 4 runs. That's gloriously played and well placed as well. You look at it, every time you look at it, the more you look at it, the better it looks. That's a really good shot. Plenty of width and offer there, and he didn't waste it. So Terrence Hines, again, being asked to show his all-round capabilities. He and Ahmed Django to try to rescue Trinidad and Tobago. And again, over the inner ring. And once it starts to gather pace along the turf, nobody's going to cut that off. That's 4 more. And again, very well played because he knows that there are fielding restrictions. So in these first 6 overs, you can basically go the area route to get it over the inner ring. So apart from those names that I called there, the rest of the Trinidad squad is Carrie Pierre, Anderson Phillip, Joshua James, and Jaden Seals. So Brian Charles give way to James. So another quick adjustment here. The long on is coming into the circle, more of a mid on. And again, that one is in the gap between the man at point, just slightly backward, and well, you have to call him a third man, and it goes between the two of them, and they're not that far apart. It's almost like a deep gully, and that ball bisected the two of them, standing there. 4 more. So this is really good batting from Emmons. He's not afraid to put back the ball once they pitch it up outside that off stump. And what is impressive is that he's not trying to go across the line of the ball as he did earlier when he dropped one in the Triniposi stand. It's outside the off stump, so he's going through the offside. They did push the man at point back on the boundary, but now they've pushed that I have to call him a deep backward point or wide third man, but he's more of a backward point because there is that short third man at the edge of the circle and he's to his left. So finally, the over comes to an end. 35 for 1 now after 4. So again, Trinidad and Tobago with work to do in that game. And they lost a fair amount of time this morning, the first session. And it's raining again now, so bit of an jerky start. But again, any team who would have won the toss would have inserted the opposition because the wicket really is giving the bowlers tremendous assistance. So the TNT batters would really have had to dig in and try to weather the storm. But once the rain falls, it means that the wicket itself is probably going to get covered up and refreshed again. That's a great shot. He probably not going to get anything for it. But you could just see him leaning into that one there. And Kanhai, but has nothing to show for it other than probably the feeling that he can middle the ball. We had another IPL doubleheader today. That's a good shot also. That's even better. This time it's more productive because he picks it up nicely and helps himself over mid-wicket. Too short on that occasion from Forrester. And you could just see Kanhai just waited on it, played it beautifully. Never try to keep it down. Just going to come around the wicket now to see if he can just change up things a little bit. And there is Kanhai trying to repeat the shot from the ball before. This time it was again delivered from a different angle and probably kept a little bit low. That's good cricket. He's going sprinting out there, probably thinking of a second, but that's all that it is, a thought, because they never really committed to it. So 27 now to Emmons, who is back on strike now as the field is being meticulously set. So there's that third man. There's also, well, a slip and a and a well, both of them now have gone to the edge of the circle. So it's like withdrawn slips. because it's almost like two third men, one straight and one one slightly square. They're like, I mean, when genuine fast bowlers are bowling, they would be in the slips there, but they're standing at the edge of the circle, almost. They flap their wings. They might be able to touch each other. And that's a wide. Started wide and stayed wide. It's a nice weather, not too hot, but some cloud about. But I don't think there's any threat of rain behind us. There is a big event going on there, kind of a family day, sports and family day, put on by it looks like the PNM. A lot of red jerseys out there at the Mandela Park. And he's going at it again. He might get a boundary. No, he cannot. Nicely fielded out there by Ramlal. And you will have to settle for a single to end the over. And a little partnership building here. So after 5, it's 42 for 1. Yeah, so I was telling you about that clip that I saw with Ashanti singing Can't Behave. The thing with Ashanti, though, even though she is an American pop star and she has some hit records, she has actually sung calypsos before. I remember her coming here with Marshall Montano and performing. So to see her performing on stage with voice, she didn't look out of place at all. I can't say the same thing for Ja Rule. I don't think he even know how to sing soca. But when they perform together, of course, they have that hit from many years ago, and so she would sing and he would do the rap. So Akshaya Prasad is back into the attack. Gets through his overs fairly quickly, doesn't dilly-dally too much. He has a short run-up, so he doesn't expend too much energy. It's very economical. Again, he's very meticulous about the field placings. But he's going to stay around the wicket, even though it's the right-hander who is facing up this time. Karan Kanhai. And they're going to have to hurry, and they do. That's very well judged in the end. I think Emmons might think he missed out there, but it probably just, he probably yoked himself. He just couldn't go through with the shot. This time he's trying. The length is a lot different, though. And good adjustment coming there from Prasad. And immediately they set off for the single, and they'll get it too. So it's almost every time they want it, they get it. So that ends the power play overs, and at the end of 6 overs, they move along nicely at 45 for 1. So Marlon Richards is going to pick up the attack now at 45 for 1. 6 overs completed. And another easy single to get things started. So Emmons has shaped well for his 31. 31 from 22 deliveries. And he's a very light fella. He's not a big man by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he looks a little frail. But he does pack a real punch when he swings the bat. He has good timing. As far as this fella, he has good power. And they might get a second run here. In fact, they should get it quite comfortably in the end. But he has to hurry because he kind of slipped and it's almost like he was in quicksand at the non-strikers. Then he was trying to turn and do everything all at once, knowing he had to go back for the second run. He almost fell over. It would have been so. If you look at it here, look at how he's slipping and sliding. He's turning. He knows he's going back for the second run. he almost tripped and fell. That would have been suicidal because his partner had already committed to the second run. He probably would have been out by a country mile. A good bit of cricket from Marlon Richards. But you can just see Kanhai finding the middle of the bat quite nicely now, which is a good sign. If I was Emmons, I would go a little bit further because that's right within his hitting arc there. And we've seen one or two guys get struck from beefy blows. And they're talking about it as a catch to be taken, and he takes it nicely. He probably hit it too well. And Kanhai has to go for 9. And Richards comes on and takes a wicket. And they've lost their second wicket now. Well judged catch. So Jagesa taking the catch. So 48 for 2 now. And here comes the captain, Cedel Diaz. We all know what Cedel Diaz is capable of. He hasn't really been able to get off in this tournament on a consistent basis, but we all know the power. And like just as he arrives on the scene, the sun comes out in all its glory. We're in the old Robert Parrish number 00. The Celtic legend. Played in the days of Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, Danny Ainge. Johnson, just an easy way to get off the mark, and he's coming back for the second one. He has to hurry, but he does well. The big fella showing that he's accused of coming up short. He doesn't like it, but we'll see if he did get the bat behind the line. Ew, the referee, the umpire went right in front of where he was putting down the bat. So it's very difficult to say. So, Sideli, on your own, we can't argue on your behalf or against you. And that's a edge over the keeper. We've seen that so many times when batsmen throw the bat at the ball, it hits the edge or the back of the bat sometimes, spoons over the keeper head. For runs, some have even gone for sixes. We've seen that time and again. So again, they take a little while to make the adjustments. 53 for 2 after 7 overs. Akshaya Prasad to continue. Good rotation of strike. They're not wasting too many deliveries. And we've already seen Emmons and his liking to hit the ball square on the offside, but he can pull as well. That's kind of like his bread and butter shot, that drive square on the offside, or through the covers, or through cover point. They think of a second run, they should get it too. And again, he's off to the races. The return was not a full one, and by the time it bounced twice before it got to the bowler, that run out opportunity had disappeared. So Diaz has come in and he's been middling the ball quite nicely. After all, he's a very experienced man. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep it up. I know if he sticks around for any extended period of time, we will see some serious fireworks here. And here's another one. A little bit of fortune favoring the Brave here. He should run because it's slowing up, but it will get to the boundary. It's another one, but there's a chance for a catch, but it's a little too far in front of Ramlal on this occasion. He is swinging the bat hard, and he didn't really connect with that one because normally when he swings like that, the ball travels. On this occasion, it went bouncing down to wideish long on, and they got a single. 63 for 2 now at the end of 8. And there goes Diaz, and he's a powerful man, and that travels. You really, you bowl a short ball like that to him. He's a very capable batsman. Don't let his size fool you. In fact, it should intimidate you because he's a big man, and it certainly is. You stand next to him and you just see how thick his muscles are, and just how bulky his upper body is. There he goes again. He goes right across the stumps, probably daring Marlon Richards to bowl on his legs. I saw that there like a security guard and somebody was walking. They were looking up in the stands by the Trini posse there, but I was just looking at the way she had her hands akimbo. I'm saying that reminded me of the days when my mom used to call me from pitching marbles and stuff like that. So I'm trying to wonder. I was saying, I wonder who she's trying to, whose attention she's trying to get. But now I see she's walking back with two other persons. So I don't think she's arresting anybody. But and again he tries, but I think he would be advised to keep his eyes on the ball because his head was certainly up in the air there when he threw the bat at that one, and that was a vicious swing. Had he connected with that, whew, I wonder how far he can hit the ball. I tell you what, one of the biggest hits I've ever seen on this ground, I think, came from Keith Boyce. Bernard Julian hit a six, and it was dying by where that side screen is there. When Keith Boyce only reached that same distance, it was still climbing. There's an appeal for a catch at the wicket, but I think it was more the bat hitting the ground there. And so where that side screen is now, just in front of the pavilion, Bernard Julian's six had elevated enough and just dropped. And that was a good hit because it cleared the field by some distance. When Keith Boyce hit his, when it reached the edge of the pavilion, it was still climbing. There he goes again, and this is every time he does that, that's the outcome. Once he middles it, it's going. That's a big hit. I think they may have to get another ball because that one, I'm not even sure where the ball landed. For all you know, it's still going. So the referee is. Did it clear that Royal Bank sign? Because they could see the third umpires coming out with a box of balls. Have your pick. But that's the power of the man, Cedar Diaz. You're really taking a risk when you bowl short to him because he's so powerful. Sidel Diaz is certainly a powerful man, Richards. And if I was hit for two powerful sixes, I would bowl wide outside the off stump too. You don't want to bowl anywhere near the stumps with him. The way he's swinging the bat. Now, I remember when Kyron Pollard first came on the scene and he was starting his career playing for Trinidad and Tobago. He hit one over the stand by the nets. There goes Diaz again. They might get a second run, and they'll get it comfortably. So Marlon Richards has had his figures sullied somewhat because Diaz is in a no-nonsense mood at the moment. He's quickly on to 23-37 to Emmons, and after 9 overs, it's 79 for 2. Preysal has to be careful here because Passad is official Jagisa. And there he goes again. Once he plays those mighty swings now, if he was hustling, probably would have gotten a second there because there's that big bubble in the field, and that's the beauty of running that first single hard. You know, when you're a youngster, that's kind of drummed into your psyche. Not to be left out, and also helping himself. And that's a good hit. This time he picked it up from outside the off stump because he realized there's a big gap here between the long on and the man at a deep mid wicket, and he placed it beautifully between them. And the big man is at it again. And every time he swings the bat, there's a lot of bird watching because the ball is just sailing out of the ground. The ball is just sailing out of the ground. And I think we're going to have another replacement. That might be the next thing we look at. We may have to go into the Queen's Park dressing room and get a few balls on loan because the way Sidel Diaz is operating, it looks like they're going to need a few extra balls here this afternoon. It's time for a break. I think the players are going to get their refreshment break now, it looks like, as they're going to try and choose a ball, a replacement ball. But with all that is going on, it's 94 for 2. And of course, it's a good opportunity for the Preysal players to huddle up a little bit and try and see if they could get together. But I think the officials will let them have their scheduled break at this time as they try to figure out which ball is going to be the replacement. We'll come back. So the players are back out in the middle. So still have a couple of deliveries left in over number 10. So armed with a new ball or a different ball. And he's pulled him. Well, because he was swinging and swinging at everything. Well, actually, he missed. He didn't bowl him. I thought he had bowled him, but I think he missed everything. And the way he was walking off, I thought he had walked, but he was just going to replace the helmet. So it's my mistake there. It's 94 for 2 now after 10. Let the entertainment continue. So the captain, Justin Gangu, is going to take matters into his own hand and try and see if he can break this partnership. Remember, they came together at 12. Or rather, 48 for 2, I should say. That's when the second wicket fell. And they've advanced the score rather quickly. With a series of bludgeon big blues. That's a great shot. That's 4 runs. He placed it so well. And that's probably the sort of disappointing thing for Gangu and his crew, because these two, you're getting attacked from both ends. It's not like it's one man doing the damage. It's a double-fisted attack coming at you. They're probably in two minds there as to how to play. Just kind of stood there and tried to turn it on the onside. Again, it would be advised, if you're, especially against spin bowling, you hit it, you don't try to flick it too much. There's always the possibility of you mistiming it. And that's a good call, because good anticipation again in the field by McDavid, denying them the chance of a quick single there. Single every time. So that's his 50. 50 from 32 balls.
Apparently, you only now bring up the 50. The score's wrong. Go on, doctor. Next one.
So a nice 50 for some 32 balls. But this man is threatening to just take this attack apart. It's good anticipation there by Gangu. He knew that they were going to try to force a second run, so he tracked down that ball quickly himself, because he was the nearest to it. This is danger here, and a big misunderstanding. And I want to believe that just as he completed his 50, he goes run out. Some miscommunication there. And exactly 100 on the board. It's now 100 for 3. But you could see he started, and Diaz did respond, so he just kept coming at once. And then Diaz just kind of put up his hands, apologizing, because he knew he had said yes initially, and then tried to send him back, but he had overcommitted. And and I suppose Diaz was in between a rock and a hard place. He could have easily continued running and get the run out, but he was probably saying to himself, "Boy, I'm hitting this ball so well and so far. Let me just stay here and see if I can bat for the two of us now." Calvin Williams is the one who has joined the party. So after 11 overs, it's 100 for 3. And there he goes again. This is really so good to see him. I'm sure he's probably disappointed with that run out, and he's probably trying to make amends here now, and which is probably a good thing if you're a neutral, because you want to see him bat. And it would be interesting to see how far he takes this, but this is a good start for him. Jump high, jump low. That's a top class shot. And again, this one is going. He could be out caught. He's dropped it. Well. He got his hands to it. McDavid really should have held on to it. And in fact, he got too far around the ball. Instead of taking it as he was running towards his right, he ended up almost going past the ball and then took it with and as if it was on his left side, which was kind of awkward, and it came out. So he did all the hard work, but he actually overran the ball somewhat, and then it just jumped out of his hands. So a life there at 36, Cedel Diaz. How Preysal would love to see the back of him. Because the longer he stays, is the more likely he is expected to just tee off here. So whereas we had nice, brilliant sunshine a moment ago, it's a little bit overcast now. The sun has gone in, so there may be some clouds about. So it's very cool here at the Oval. And immediately off the mark is Williams. And coming back in there is Akshaya Prasad. And there he goes. What a miss-stumping opportunity that is. That was a bad miss. He didn't stump him. He was a run-out chance. He was so far down the wicket that he missed everything. It was just miscollected there by Banke. And that's a bad miss. Look at how far down the wicket he is. But the wicketkeeper, he dropped the ball. And that allowed Cedel Diaz to get back. Living a charmed life. But really, that's a bad miss. You don't want to give a dangerous customer like Cedel Diaz too many opportunities. That's what a drop catch and now a miss stumping. Certainly trying to see if they could curb this run flow here, because the longer this continues, the larger that total that they're going to have to chase is going to be. So it's the end of the over. And after 12, it's 107 for 3. So Diaz is on 37 now from 19. And Gangu, the two captains facing off here. That's well played again. That is going to gather speed and go into the boundary for 4. That's very well played. He didn't hit it too hard. He just nibbled it, showing a little bit of finesse. And Diaz showing that he has a good head on his shoulders. He's understanding the game and he's reading the situation very well, even though he almost gifted it away in the last over, but he was misstumped, so he's still there. He's had two big lives, and he just continues to flail away at the bowling. I'm just kind of eager to see how deep he will take this, because I know if he sticks around for another 4 or 5 overs, it could be real fireworks. It's 112 right now for 3. If he stays for another 3 or 4 overs, that figure could increase exponentially. And here's a shot in the dark, literally. He was trying to swing this one over a square leg, maybe. Took an inside edge and more left an under edge, and it just flew past the stumps. So this brings the big fella back into strike. And again, he's trying to really. There are no like half measures with him. It's like he's always going full hilt. Let's see if what he opts for here. And again, they're appealing for a stumping. Not out, says the umpire. Good glove work again from Aaron Banke. So 1-1-3 for 3. Police making good progress. And again, it misses everything. Now, how that didn't bowl him down, I don't know. But it was very close to the leg stump. It missed the leg stump, missed the keeper's pads, and went for 4 byes. So, can you look at it? He just had a swing, just the angle took it away from the stump. And I think the keeper was anticipating it would hit the stump. But it just held its own and just moved on the angle away from the stump. And even though it passed close to the stump, the angle is what determines whether it hits or not. And he certainly went with the arm. So that makes it 117 for 3 after 13. And Williams is playing his role, trying to get Cedric Diaz back on strike as early as possible, because he's probably just enjoying the fireworks like anybody else. But he's gotten his wish now. Akshaya Prasad. And again, just almost spooning a simple catch back to the bowler. Luckily for him, it went away from the bowler a bit and fell on the offside. Getting himself in a little bit of a tangle there. Yeah, it is always possible the spin will do him in, but he could also catch up with a couple of those just as his teammate there. This is another chance at a catch, and he too puts it down. Well, and another chance at a run out, and I'm not sure why Williams was so reluctant to run. But a good effort there, a good running effort, but Nick Ramlal not able to haul it in. Cedel Diaz is really wondering why it is he can't connect it with the ball as he was doing earlier, but he's really swinging and swinging hard. That ends over number 14. It's 120 for 3. So a little bit of a discussion there. I'm sure they're probably trying to figure out how we could get a move on. But he's doing the right thing, Williams. Just take the single early and get the big hitter back on strike. Now again, they're able to just kind of he's doing his bit here, Williams. So he's not afraid to defer to his captain. And now everybody is kind of like holding their breath that he don't connect and hit one by them in the stands. Again, they're trying their best to get him to really bludgeon the ball, but he's not middling as well as he was doing a short while ago. But maybe this is just a temporary loss of power. Williams, can he get him back on strike quickly? He decides he's going to have one of his own and hits it well for 6 runs. Again, a nice fluent swing and good connection, good elevation, and 6 more runs. So if Williams gets into the swing of things, this could be real problems for Preysal. They have to be very careful here. Preysal might be at the bottom of the group and they have nothing to lose. So they will play as loose as ever. Good bounce on that one. Had to climb up on top Williams to try to get over it. Still, they can't get it through the 2 men there, which is a heavily trafficked area. Short third man and short backward point, if you want to call them that. Really spreading his legs to pull it through the onside. Misses out. So that completes the over. And at the end of over number 15, it's 128 for the loss of 3. So 128 for 3. So a little slowing down here, but still looking to build now. If they can finish up strong in the last 5, I'm sure they'll be happy with that. Now you think 5 overs, the way they're hitting the ball, I would say 5 overs might net them another 30, 40 runs. If not 50. If Cedar Diaz is around, then it's a lottery. You're not sure what that final score is going to be like. Here he goes again, and there it goes again. Lift off. And this is what I'm saying. If he sticks around, and that's his 50 as well, 4 fours, 4 sixes. So a brilliant 50 from 29 balls. And let's do it again. Now a chance here, and this time the catch is taken. And boy, they were hoping for that. And Sicharan holds on for dear life. And the big fella goes for 54. But you knew it was just a matter of time that they were going to get him out, but it was how much damage he could have done before actually being dismissed. So 134 for 4. So now it's a chance for prisoners here to see if they could just get a score close to 160 maybe from here. Vikas Rampasad makes his way out. So a wicket to Akshaya Prasad, or second one, another 2 for 27 now. And some turn as well for him. And he's bowled him right through the gate. It goes this time. And Vikas Rampasad has to make that long trek back, having been bowled by Prasad. So it's now 134 for 5. So without any addition to the score, but that's a brilliant bit of bowling there from Akshaya Prasad. He has 3 for 27 now. So Preysal fighting back here now. For a long while, it's been almost exclusively the domain of the Prison Service Sports Club. But now it's a slightly different look to it. Opportunities for a couple new faces in the team. Prisons having made a few changes. Let's see what he does now. And he almost went through there as well. They're going for a second run. They're going to have to hurry, no, they decide against it. Well, for a moment there, it looked as if they were going to be flying back down for a second run with Mikael Fredericks out there. That's a nice quicker delivery to end his spell. 3 for 28. So 3 for 28 for Akshaya Prasad. Really bowled well. 135 for 5 now after 16. So again, Preysal doing a decent job of keeping them quiet. I think if they look overall, they would be happy with 135 for 5 after 16, but they'll know that the job isn't done as yet. And they brought back Marlon Richards. He has been very miserly. Still a lot of juggling of the fielders. They're not quite sure who they want where. So they're making a lot of adjustments, substituting one player for another on a different spot. Richards again doing his part with another nicely lined delivery. So Trinidad and Tobago fighting here 153 for 7 against Guyana in the West Indies Championship final. That's brilliant. Right up in the block hole and bowls him. So a peach of a delivery there. And certainly Fredericks no opportunity at all. That's a brilliant bit of bowling from Marlon Richards. It's 135 for 6. So despite all the fireworks, the Preysal bowlers have stuck to their guns. I haven't been to the movies in a long while, but I understand I suppose the two popular movies right now would be the Michael Jackson and Prada 2. Meryl Streep. I think Prada 1 was almost 20 years ago. And so they brought the team back together again. And apparently he's doing very well all around the world. The devil wears Prada. You know the ladies will like that because when you say Prada, you're talking about handbags and fancy stuff, you know. Bling! So, but I remember my daughters taking them to the movies to see that. So here's Richards trying his best again, and stifled appeal, but no response really from the umpire, Brian Boudrams, the new batsman. Has a peculiar number, 169. That's a fantastic take there. It's a wide, and really was testing the ability of Banky, but he did very well to go down the leg side and to come up with that in both hands and not even bobble it. And this is the man who is probably in some discomfort, having been struck a painful blow on the knee earlier. But he's sticking it out and doing very well for his team. Another wide now. So Marlon Richards, the experienced one, looks a little bewildered that the umpire would have the audacity to call that a wide. And another wicket for Guyana. Trinidad and Tobago slip, sliding away. So no damage done there. Richards very experienced, so he knows what he's doing. Looks like Carey Pierre departing there. Too quickly. I think Prisons would like Boudram to just add the numbers on his jersey, add them together, and see if he could contribute that to the total right now. It's 169, so that's 16 when you add them together. So if he could give them a brisk 16, I think they'll be very happy with that. He's going to have to hurry here. If he hits, and he just misses. Good bit of cricket there. He went for the single. He committed to it. And he just had to try to get in there as quickly as he possibly could. Boudram was the one going away from danger, but it was Williams who was in some trouble there. But I will end another over there. Richards 2 for 27 now from his 3 overs. 138 for 6 after 17. Vishan Jagisa is going to come back here and finish his spell. Not for 28 so far. And a little bit of football there. It's not the recommended way to field, but Marlon Richards probably didn't want to go through the rigmarole, as he might think at this stage of his career, of bending down to field. So just a 1 by 1 now, 140 for 6. So from here, if they can get another 20 runs, I think they'll be happy. And like I said, I'm still relying on Budram to make the 16 that he's wearing. And Budram is going to get another single. So just one by one, they're not able to get the big heavy blows that they would have been hoping for. And it's Williams. Williams looked like he was ready to launch. And then I don't know what happened, but for some reason he changed his mind. So he ended up in this very awkward position. Remind me of the good old Leo John back in the day. This time he's going. He could be out though. It's a chance here, and he drops it. The second one put down in this general area here, and the ball came in. And is that the substitute Barrett who is out there? And really should have taken it. And the ball wasn't hit all that hard, and it was right in front of him. And this time they are pleading for a catch at the wicket, and he has to go. So Budram is not going to get those 19 runs today. And you look at it again, he's trying to cut it and just nibbles at it, takes the edge, and he has to go for 3. So another wicket here and another wicket in Antigua. So Trinidad and Tobago, the tail is not wagging. The Guyana bowlers are all over them right now. So 18 overs gone, 142 for 7 now. So Brandon Budram is the new batsman. There was Brian Budram, and now there's Brandon Budram. But it's Williams, who again, and Marlon Richards is working up some serious pace here now. And this could be out, and he is walking immediately. So eventually his innings comes to an end. He goes for 13. Williams, and another simple catch for Banke, and another wicket for Richards. So Prisons really slipping away here when they really need to be accelerating. It's like the boundaries have dried up, so they're having difficulty getting the scoreboard ticking over. Richards now has 3 for 27. It's 142 for 8. So Gervais Cummings is the man out there at the moment. Actually, it's Brandon Suklal is the one who came and not Brandon Boodram. Doesn't make much of a difference, but pulled away by Cummings. So Richards working really hard, trying to see if he can finish up with another wicket and maybe end the proceedings here. He has 2 more deliveries in this over. And he just that he almost took out his partner at the non-striker's end, and Gervais Cummings just managed to get out of harm's way there. How often in this tournament we've seen batsmen at the non-striker's end having to run or jump for their lives and their private parts. So with his final ball, hopefully it's a legal delivery. Marlon Richards, 3 for 29 so far. And he's going to have to do that over, is it? So yes, it's a wide. So trying to york him there, but missing out. So he ends up with 3 for 30 from his 4 overs. So another excellent spell from Marlon Richards, but at the end of the over, 19 gone, it's 145 for 8. So when you consider at the time when they needed to accelerate, at the end of the 15th over, it was 128 for 5. They scored 8 runs in that over. In the 16th over, it was 135 for 5. So they got, again, just 7 runs in that over. Then they got 138 for 6 after 17. They got 3 runs in that over. It was 142 for 7 at the end of the 18th over. They got 4 runs in that over. And then on the 19th over, 145 for 8. They got 3 runs in that over. So they have not really been able to accelerate the scoring. And this man is looking to put the finishing touches on there now. Forrester, not for 18. I'm sure he would love to pick a pepper or 2 to wrap it all up. So the ones are not going to hurt them too much. They won't mind that. As long as they could probably keep that. They're going to get a second run, and that's careless. And the idea is get rid of the ball and get it back into the wicket keeper. So 147 now for 8. Can they get it to 150? And Forrester, it just seems like almost as if he's uncomfortable in the bowling around the wicket. So I feel he might be better off coming over the wicket again. Should get a single here and no more. .149 now, so they're just one away from the 150 marker. I'm sure they would have been hoping and praying for 180, maybe 190. They were going so well at one stage. So that will bring up the 150 for Prisons. They won the toss and opted to bat first. And in the 20th over, they 150 for 8 with 2 balls left. Trying to make a scoop there, but making a meal of it. It doesn't get a run, so it's still 150 for 8 with 1 ball left in the innings. And that's a wide, so they will take that one. I'm sure they'll take it any way they can get it right now. And this is where Forrester has to be better concentrated. You don't want to prolong the innings by bowling extra deliveries. It's again just a single. If he gets to the ball quickly and releases it, should be an easy run out. But they decide against trying it. So there are 2 runs to end it all off. 153 for 8 is where they will finish. So 153 for 8 at this stage, 3 for 30 to Marlon Richards, and 3 for 28 to Akshaya Prasad. They were the principal wicket takers. And of course, 50 from Emmons before he was unfortunately run out. And then Sidel Diaz, the captain, blazed his way to 54. And those are the principal scorers for the innings. And when it's all said and done, 153 for 8. And it means that Preysal will need 154 for a victory. And I'm sure they'll be very confident of getting that. But we'll get to their reply when we come back. Welcome back to the Queen's Park Oval, where we're getting ready for the Preysal reply. And openers Justin Jagisa and Nick Ramlal are out there in the middle. And it's going to be Vikash Rampasad who's going to start for Prisons. And immediately they're off and running. And they'll get too comfortably in the end. So this is an area where Prisons will have to be very, very tight and consistent. They're bowling, they have to bowl the right lines just to put pressure on Preysal. If not, this is going to be a runaway for the central team. Preysal, of course, really been able to blood some outstanding players, many of whom have gone on to represent the West Indies. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago and the West Indies. Some of the biggest names, of course, includes Anchan Ali, Ravi Rampal, Dinesh Ramdin, Ranjin Anand, among others. And of course, from that Nana clan, you had Nirmal Nanan as well, who also played at a very high level. And there have been numerous others who've represented Trinidad and Tobago, the Antwine brothers, Charles and Eugene, Marlon Black, who went on to represent the West Indies as well. And again, this push and run and committing to the quick singles, that is so good to see. And that you just ask yourself, what took so long? But almost all the teams now, you're seeing them trying their best to put pressure on their opponents by taking quick singles, trying to turn ones into twos. Just generally, remember the target is 154, and after one, it's 5 without loss. It looks like Michael Fredericks, who's going to pick up the attack. He'll be operating from the Brian Lara Pavilion end. Again, he has a nice ring around. There's that man on the point boundary. Justin Jagisa. I'm sure would love to give Preysal a good start here. Just so that they could just relax and ease whatever nervousness there might be in the dressing room. Because for one moment it looked as if Prisons was heading for a really big score, especially with Emmons going at a rate of knots and Diaz swinging the bat with murderous intent. And this one is going to spoon off the outside edge. they're going to come back for a second run. This is good running again. And taking that through on taking the single, the second run on the through. So Ramlal, he is going and going and going. That's a vicious hit. And bringing the security guard into play. And Prisons with an extra fieldsman. That's such a good hit. That and the ball itself, and that's a good stop there by the security personnel. Much too short from Fredericks. And again, just spooning it, trying to run it down to third man, almost gifted a catch to Sidel Diaz there in that short third man position. There are two of them, a fine one and a square one. He's the squarer of the two. He's also the bigger of the two. Can't miss him. And again, this time, and they juggle it there, and he takes the catch. So Ramlal goes for 9. So Cummings taking the catch there, and Frederick picks a pepper. So 14 for 1 now. At the end of over number 2. But really, Ramlal probably could have hit that any way he wanted to. He was probably trying to go over Cummings' head at mid-on, but he didn't get the elevation. And of course, some good news for Trinidad and Tobago, although they're struggling, the top order struggle. Javon Seals showing his capabilities with the bat with an unbeaten 53 so far. As Trinidad and Tobago have gone past 200. For a while, they didn't look like they were going to get anywhere near that. And now they're 217 for 9. And they go for 1. They're actually thinking of a second run. It might have been on, but they would have had to commit to it. And basically go if you're going. But I'm sure Preysal don't want to lose another wicket this early. And just to keep things in perspective, Sicharan. So he's immediately off the mark. Sachin Sicharan. And that's a good stop and excellent cricket there. It was a good shot And but a fine stop in the outfield there by Boodram. That's Brandon Boodram. Again, they're hinting at a quick single there. They have to be careful, but if they commit into it, then the non-striker will have to move immediately. There can't be any half measures. And this is very well played again. There's nobody out there. And it didn't matter because it went all the way. And this is kind of perplexing. How are you going to bowl an off spinner? You don't have a man at the square leg boundary. At least you start with a square leg. Well, there is a short square leg, but by the umpire. And but that's not going to help. Anytime the batsman sweeps, there's every likelihood that he's going to clear his head and get 4 runs behind him, to the left or right of him as well, because there's no protection beyond that. Again, the commitment to that early single makes it easy to attain. So at the end of the over, 3 completed now, it's 23 for 1. So we have another bowling change. And coming on now is Boodram, Brian Boodram. So just about 5:30 in the evening here at the Oval. And of course, it's about this time I think they're going to look to close off play in Antigua as well. They probably, but they lost so much time this morning. So they might be probably trying to make up as much or play for as long as they possibly can. This one is hit. He's dropped it. But it was a brilliant attempt there to get a hand to it. And he got his hand to it. He just couldn't close it in time. And they had to stick because he was really stretching out there and he stays down. He might have done some damage to that left hand. And was hit hard. And he went flying through the air to try to corral it. And just couldn't come up with it. A brilliant, brilliant effort from Suklal. But it might have cost him because he's sitting down there in that hand. He's wringing that hand as if to say, help, please, somebody. So when you consider Trinidad and Tobago 226 for 9, Carrie Pierre made 40, Terrence Hines made 29, Joshua James made 14, Anderson Phillips is not out 7, and Jaden Seals is not out 57. 57 from 40 balls, 6 fours, and 2 sixes. Joshua James had 2 fours in his 14. Carey Pierre had 3 fours and 3 sixes in his 40. And Terrence Hines had no fours but 2 sixes in his 29. So Trinidad and Tobago certainly, the tail is, the lower order certainly has put its hand up to assist, because the top order, Joshua De Silva made a duck, Amir Django made 4, Jason Mohammed made 14, Jid Gooley made 26, and Cephas Cooper made 18. Evan Lewis made a duck as well. So, in a strange way, the lower order has spared Trinidad and Tobago's blushes. On a wicket that was rendering plenty assistance to the Guyanese bowlers, Kimo Paul and company took advantage. So Budram, that's well played. It's in the gap. It's a long chase here, but I think they could give up that chase. Again, another fine shot there by Justin Jagisar. He really looks in ominous form at the moment. And they're going to have to hurry again. Another quick single. Very well taken. Again, probably just caught napping there a little bit was Calvin Williams. He probably didn't think they were going to go for a quick single there. And but the over eventually comes to an end. 4 completed. And it's 30 for 1. So another bowling change. Brandon Budram. So we had Brian Budram at one end, and we had Brandon Budram at the other end. So one bowling left arm, and the other one is bowling right arm. And bad miss there by the keeper, but it was signaled a wide. So they'll get 2 more tack on there. Pushes up to 32 for 1. So again, Budram just now trying to get into the swing of things. Again, another well-judged single. Not much they could do about that. That's a very well-judged single. He didn't hit it too hard, and he just put pressure on the fielder. And again, so it's more of the same. So very positive start this by Preysal. And I think they needed to get off to a good start, get off to a positive start. You might lose a couple wickets, but you keep going. And again, sliced away for 4 runs. Brilliant shot indeed. Just got it over the head of the man of that short backward point or wide gully. And even though there's a fielder on the point boundary, he couldn't get around in time. So again, they had to chase the ball all down the hill. I'm trying to figure out how many balls they replaced in this game so far. I think we had one on that side and one on this side. That's 2. And again, really stroking the ball nicely. And a good bit of cricket out there in the deep. Excellent fielding and a brilliant return. That's well played. And excellent fielding as well, because they were thinking of a possible second run. And again, Preysal really getting to a good start here. A little bit of a fumble out there at the moment, and that is all they need. Rampasad not able to hold that one. Actually, it's not Rampasad out there. The man doing the honors is Emmons, Sean Emmons. So at the end of the over number 5 is 42 for 1. And Citron is up to 10 now. And Justin Jagisa is leading the lead with 21. It's another brilliant shot. The diving stop, but you didn't stop it cleanly. Diaz. And showing his nimbleness in the field. The big fella going down with a dive. And once the ball hits the bat, there's like the call comes and quickly they're off to the races. And another well-judged single once again. And if you're going to really test your running between the wickets, I think Prisons is the ideal team in the sense that they don't have too many lightning fast athletes. This is one, though, that you can't really risk anything with. He's quick across the ground and he covers that ground very quickly indeed. I'm speaking about Emmons, Shondell Emmons. Remember, he batted beautifully for his 50 and now gift anything short and they will punish you. And you don't want to give them too many easy runs, but the bowlers, again, they have to just be a little more concentrated. And you can see Jagisar really wanting to get on with things here now. Looks like he wants to score off every ball that he faces. It's another good shot. For 1 run. Prisons, though, keeping things relatively quiet. One would have to say 49 for 1 at the end of over number 6. So you do a quick comparison, and Prisons were 45 for 1 at the end of their power play and at 6 in the 6th over. So we're back here with Brandon Boodram. It's another gorgeous shot that's going to scream across the ground for 4 runs. A magnificent square drive. He's pulling out all the stops right now. He's going to have to do that again, and one of the easiest calls for the umpires to make. So Prisons really need a miracle. They need to keep taking wickets. That's their best way to control proceedings here. These singles are going to kill them because they're just accumulating them with relative ease, I should say. And Trinidad and Tobago 233 for 9. Jaden Seals is up to 60. And Anderson Phillips is on 11. His 11 has come off 34 balls. So he's been there for a while. And finally gets one to go past the bat there. So some encouragement, one would have to say. And more runs here. They score off almost every ball. And if they're not hitting a boundary, they're getting an easy single. So Prisons, while they can't do anything about it in this tournament, I'm sure going forward, they may look at a whole host of areas and, in fact, look at uplifting and increasing the intensity of their players. Scoreboard continues to tick over now, 57 for 1. In the same general area. Bringing Diaz into the play, but again, these two have really settled now and trying all the time to increase their scoring and just to keep things going. We have a little change of glove, and the over comes to an end. At the end of the over, 58 for 1. So Joviel Cummings will join proceedings here now. You don't want him spraying the ball all over the place. I think if he can just bend his back a little bit here and give them a good spell, even if he doesn't take wickets, they will appreciate it at this stage. And that too is going to run away. Not exactly where he wanted to put it. And he has to be so careful because they could really feast on him. He's not lightning fast, but he's just quick enough that they can really get at him and maybe score. And if the field placing will also have to be spot on. And again, it's going in that same general area. So Preysal now inching on to 63 for 1. And Justin Jagisa is leading the charge with 33. Citran is on 18. He's back on strike now, the right-hander. Excellent cricket. They're going to come back for a second run. So the game really just kind of meandering along at the moment as Preysal look to build a solid foundation here. Good shot again all along the turf. This is where they have to keep their concentration levels going. Prisons can't put their heads down, and because nobody else can do it but themselves. This one is in the air, but again, it's safe. And it's going into the boundary, yes. So not the most convincing of pull shots, but once she clears the head of the inner ring, it's always a challenge to catch up to the ball before it goes into the boundary. So another boundary, and exactly what it is Prisons don't want is for them to be scoring in boundaries. More runs again, might come back for a second run comfortably. Bit of fielding now. So remember, it's 153 for 8 Prisons make, and in reply, Preysal going along nicely, 72 for 1 now after 8. So what a story this is. The Trinidad and Tobago turned their batting order upside down. They send the tailenders early, and the openers are the ones doing the business. So after 60 overs, 235 for 9. Jaden Seal 61 not out, and Anderson Phillips 14 not out. Frustrating the Guyanese bowlers. So one by one, and they're running. This pair is doing a pretty good job for Preysal. They keeping the scoreboard ticking over. They got a boundary or two at sort of opportune times, but in the main, they're just rotating strike. Is the reason why they're almost level pegging with the amount of singles they're taking. You missed out on that occasion. Those are the type of deliveries you have to put away, make your life easier. And going up again, but probably hit it too well, so he couldn't go back for the second run. Again, they would like to ensure that they get this victory. There's a chance here, but he cannot take it. He seemed to lose it, and then trying to get under it. couldn't do so in the final analysis, and that's a big miss there for Jerry Cummings. They need a wicket. They need one desperately, and that was an opening there for them. 75 now for one. Another gorgeous shot. 4 runs. Really brilliantly played. Just driving home the idea of the missed opportunity. And Sichan just makes sure that they remember that they missed out on a chance. More runs again. That's another good shot, but it's a brilliant stop. And they're going to take on the arm, which is good cricket all around. Nice tumbling save. But the batsman just kept on running and made sure that they got that second run in there. So 9 overs now completed. The score is up to 81 for 1. And this was a time when Prisons would have been at their best in terms of run scoring. And at this same stage, Prisons was 79 for 2. Preysal 81 for 1. So pretty even. Couple runs more, but a wicket less. Trying to keep up with that one, but good pace early on there by Cummings. Touching down just outside the off stump, encouraging the cut shot. And again, he's really trying to see if he can get on top of it to hit it. And finding it very difficult to catch up with it. He's getting good carry. Not the quickest bowler, but it's quick enough that batsmen are mindful of pace. And you know, as they say, pace is a great leveler. That's better. And forcing the fielders to have to react to those quick singles. And now we're seeing some real urgency in the field, especially out in the deep, where they try to get to the ball quickly and release it quickly because they've been burned a couple of times dwelling on the ball or just fumbling out in the deep. So Trinidad and Tobago now 240 for 9. So that's stumps at stumps. So who would have thunk it, as they say, after Trinidad and Tobago had slipped badly, losing their top order. One without a run on the board, Evan Lewis goes. 2 for 47. Cooper goes. And cut away nicely, but protection out there. 3 for 69. Jason Mohammed goes. 4 for 73. Jit Guli goes. 5 for 73. Joshua De Silva goes. 6 for 84. Ahmed Django goes. 7 for 124, Terrence Hines goes. 8 for 156, Carrie Pear goes after a brilliant 40. And 9 for 162 when James departed. Since that time, to stumps, it has been the Seals and Phillips show. Anderson Phillips is not out 15, and Jaden Seals is not out 63. So they have really batted beautifully, taking the score from 162 for 9, and they reach stumps at 240. So they've already added, what is it, 78 runs between them. Yeah, so over number 10 is completed. 85 for 1 after 10. And the players are going to get a breather. So 85 for 1, and you compare that to 94 for 2 after 10 when Prisons batted. And but we'll have the last 10 overs when we come back. So 85 for 1 it is after 10 overs. And just as we were telling you there, 240 for 9 Trinidad and Tobago. At the close at stumps on the first day against the Guyana Happy Eagles. And the top scorer again is Jaden Seals. Yes, you're hearing me right. Don't feel like I'm talking Greek. It's 63 not out. Carrie Peer made 40. Terrence Hines made 29. And of course, Anderson Phillips is 15 not out. Joshua James made 14. And at the top of the order, 26 to Jid Gooley and 18 to Cephas Cooper. Those are the main run scorers for Trinidad and Tobago. Jason Mohammed also chipped in with 14. But back here, it's 85 for 1. Preysal. And they're looking for more here quickly. They will just get a single. Vikash Rampasad is the one who's back into the attack. So again, there are these phases of this innings where they just kind of rotate the strike, taking the single, and then boom, they will strike a couple beefy blows for a couple boundaries, and then just go back into their shell a bit. And so here we go again as the scoreboard just ticks over now. 88 now for 1. 40 to Jagisa and 35 to Cicharan. Good partnership by these two. They came together at 14 for 1. And problems here. They're running for the second. They're going for the second run, and they will get it too. The return is way off target, not even close to the wicketkeeper. Good running, and of course, it's always going to be a challenge for the boundary riders, the men out on the boundaries, to try to prevent that second run. If it's not played very hard or straight at them, then they're under pressure to deny them. So another comfortable single to end that over. That will take the score now to 91 for 1 at the end of 11. So Preysal just giving themselves a great chance here. They need 63 runs in 54 balls. Yeah, and that is very attainable, especially having lost just the 1 wicket. And the way this pair is batting, both of them look likely to get to half centuries. So Preysal in a pretty strong position right now. And I'm not sure if Prisons can in fact deny them, especially when you're gifting them those extra runs. It's not what the doctor ordered. Here comes Brian Boodram again. And that's going to be a wide. In the end, 2 of them. But certainly the Prisons they haven't been consistent. The bowlers haven't really applied the pressure on the Preysal batsmen, and then when they batted, they got such a good cushion early, and but they couldn't kick on too many, should I say, small overs and dot balls. And just as I say dot balls, here is a nice lifter, and the catch is taken right on the boundary, trying to help himself there, Sicharan, and he goes for 35. A well played 35 at that. And it's Brian Boodram who gets the breakthrough. So Emmanuel Garcia, the man out there taking the catch. 93 for 2 now. Akshaya Prasad is the man replacing him. So it's interesting to see if Prisoners can kind of just lift their game here and put some more pressure on the Preysal batsman. Okay, so Barcelona is celebrating their La Liga title with a 3-1 victory today. Real Madrid also won 1-0, but it's not going to impact the final standings much. And Lens beat Olympiacos by 4-0. PSG lost 2-1. Man United won today 3-2. And remember I was telling you about the movie, the Michael Jackson? Well, that movie has now surpassed $700 million worldwide. And The Devil Wears Prada 2 is nearing 550 million. And they're going to get some more runs here. That might run into the boundary, so that's 4 wides. And so that count 5 of them there. So that's 99 now for 2. Again, that's careless bowling because as a spinner, you must be able to control your line and your lengths. A little bit better than that. You can't just run up to a new batsman and just pull a wide outside of his legs. It just kind of saps the energy from the team. They were just buoyed by getting a wicket, and then the very next ball is a wide delivery. It's so deflating. 100 on the board. It's 100 for 2 now. So the countdown has started for Preysal. And remember, their target is 154. So with 100, they're going to get a 2 here, and they're running hard for it. And they picked out the right man because coming in from long on and trying to stop them there was Michael Fredericks, and he can't throw the ball. He underarmed the ball back to the bowler. So 2 runs always a likelihood. And again, more of the same. So good, intelligent cricket from Preysal, keeping the pressure on Prisons. And with every run now, you're starting to see the body language. It's almost like a defeatist look from the Prisons team, as there's nothing they could do. Not that they're not trying, they're trying. It's just that the batsmen are doing very well. And here they are again challenging for a couple. They thought about it and then they decide, no, we're not going to try it too much. Garcia is out there and he has a good arm. So they respected him and settled for the one at the end of the over. 105 now for 2 after 12. So 45 more runs needed, and there are 48 balls, so they're already in a strong position in terms of in the equation balls against runs. They need fewer runs than they have balls, and that's always a good place to be. And Vikas Rampasad comes back in. He's looking for a wicket if he can. Not for 19 from his 3 overs prior to this one. I see so many of the Prison players, the fielders, using their feet to stop the ball. It's almost like they don't like the idea of bending down to pick up the ball. And it's not like they can't reach it if they bend down, but they just prefer to stop it with their foot first and then bend down to pick it up. It's not the best habit to develop, because sometimes when the ball is hit hard, you might still want to put your foot there. That's a good delivery. So it's just an observation, because I've seen so many of their players do that. Run around the ball, stop it, and then check back to pick it up. And stop it with the foot, that is. Here they go again, just nudging and running. Nothing the fielders can do about it. So Preysal really setting this up nicely. They're just taking what Prison's given them. They're not trying to overhit the ball or do anything injudicious. They're just playing on merit and forcing the issue at times with the running between the wickets every time. And here they are now thinking of 2. I'm sure they'll get it as well. Nothing they could do about it. And coming screaming in there was Garcia, but not even he could prevent them from getting that second run. Brilliant running between the wicket again tonight. And again, once you have only boundary riders on the offside, even an orthodox push is a single to start with. It might even get you 2, but that's the short side of the ground. So they will probably respect that and just settle for a single. But on this side, they could easily pick up 2 runs because it's a bigger side of the ground based on where the wickets, which strip they're using, which is to the extreme left from our angle. The end of the over, 111 for 2 now at the end of 13. So Jagisai is up to 49, so he's one away from his half century. 1-1-1 for 2. And Nelson is in the house. And we've seen Nelson catch a couple people in recent nights. In fact, I think in both innings in one game last night, both teams lost a wicket at 111. So 1-1-1 for 2. So again, another late adjustment in the field. It's good cricket all around. A nice shot, but brilliant fielding in the covers. Is it a no ball? Yep, so it's a front foot no ball. So that's going to be a free hit. And when it rains, it pours. And just helping himself there to another boundary. Again, with the fine leg up, you can't bowl that length outside of his legs. He's just gifting runs. So Frederick will try again to see if he can correct that. 1 for 14 now. On that occasion, Nelson didn't work. So here's the man of the moment now. Justin Jagisar, can he get to his half century? He's on 49 from 42 balls. And Cyril Diaz is just making him wait by adjusting the field. And to no avail. In fact, he might be pushing for 2, and but they decide to get 1. So he will get his 50, 3 fours, and a 6. So 43 balls for his 50, 3 fours, and a 6 for Justin Jagisar. And the score pushes on to 118 for 2. And we have yet another batsman making a half century. We had 2 in the Prison's innings, 50 to Emmons and 54 to Diaz. And it's a good lifting delivery there, really bending his back and getting that one to climb. Strike rate at 116.28. Lovely drive again, 4 runs. Again, everybody just kind of looking at each other as if to say, whose ball is that? And when they look up, Prasad has another boundary to his name as he too starts to put together some wonderful stroke play. He's up to 15 now from 11. Preysal 122 for 2. And again, more runs. So he's slashing this one over the short third man. And really, they're big gaps, and they know exactly where the seams are in the field, or the scoring spots are, and that's always a good one when the third man is up and at the edge of the circle. Not much you could do to impact a shot like that. The end of the over, 126 now for 2 after 14. So 28 from 36. And this is Suklal coming into the action. And always a difficult take for the keeper. And this one goes all the way to the fence. So 4 wide, so tack on 5 more to that score. We'll take it up to 131 now for 2. So Preysal really starting now to stroll to their target. They need another 23 runs, and they have 35 balls in which to get those runs. And they continue to run well between the wickets. Really, right now they're just toying with the bowlers, and the batsmen are the ones dictating everything at the moment. The bowlers really don't have much of a say here. They're not really impacting this game in any way, form or fashion. They're not beating the bat, and they're not making life uncomfortable for the batsmen. It's all about who is doing what. And there's another example of what I'm talking about. There's no fine leg. He's bowling off spin, so there's a deep backward square, and nobody down there. And he just scooped it fine and picked up 4 good-looking runs there as well. So Akshar Prasad and Justin Jaggis are just continuing to put daylight between themselves and Prisons. And Preysal are well on course here now, 136 for 2. More runs and another boundary. And this is what I was referencing earlier. Why do you think he put his foot to? I think that's 4 runs. The ball hit the ropes and stopped there, so that's 4 runs. But look at this bit of fielding. Look at where he's never bent down for the ball. He put his foot to try to stop it. He could easily have stepped on that ball and damaged his ankle. But he's not the only one. Several of the players have adopted that approach, which is very, very dangerous indeed. to 140. All right, well, actually 140 for 2. And more runs again. So it's like they just taking the heart out of the Prisons Sports Club right now. It's like nothing they can do to prevent the runs from flowing. 144 now for 2 after 15. And they're well and truly on their way. T- 10 runs required.
$143 for 2. Just 11 more to be gotten here for Preysal Sports Club. Juve Cummins continuing here and into the deep. Just 1. So that brings it down to 10 runs now. It's been a very brilliant innings here from Justin Jagasan. The partnership to boot as well. 50 off of just 25. Wasn't blazing start earlier. Took their time, got into the flow of things, and really started to explode throughout that middle period. But a real authoritative knock here from Jagasa. Pulled this time by Jagasa. Has that going? Yes, it has. 4 runs towards the gate there. He picked out his area there very precisely. No one in the deep in that region. So you can see there, vacant area that he had to work with. And that shot was definitely enough given the length that Cummins gave him. A bit cheeky that time. Bit lucky as well. Scampering through for 1 after not timing that one as he would have liked. So just 3 runs now. Prasad back on strike. He's been in some supreme form. It was one of the earlier games in the tournament. He brought them home in a run chase. And he deposits that very high. And eventually it lands over the boundary line. 4 runs, and that means Preysal has won this match. So a very commanding chase in the end from Preysal, getting home with 4.2 overs to spare. So much extra time was remaining and was definitely expected on this surface given the score that Prisons had gotten earlier, just 148. and coming home in the end by 8 wickets, Preysal Sports Club. So it's going to be a toss-up for man of the match. Preysal with a brilliant all-round performance, as you see on screen there, 25 from 15 to really add a bit of sting in the tail of Prisons at the end there, and 3 for 28 in his bowling as well. And there's also maybe the possibility of Jagisar with his score of 67 in this match. We'll take you down to that presentation very shortly.
Preysal, and now we're ready for game number 2 here in the 90s.